Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. We have got an absolutely massive blog here from Aaron Keller. This is the Overwatch 2 development values, and it's part one. There's going to be more parts of this, which is awesome. And it's basically a look at, well, what's going to happen in 2024. So this is going to be a bit of my first impressions to this as well, because I've not read through this yet. I've just pulled it up, and we're just going to go into this and just take a look at it and break it down and see what Aaron is saying here. And let's just go for it. Grab a drink, guys, because it's probably going to be a bit of a meaty one. It's a fairly long blog post. So let's just start breaking this down. So he says, well, it's the director's take, our development values, part one. Hello, everyone, and happy 2024. Well, happy 2024 to you as well, Aaron. We're at the start of the new year. I thought it would be a great idea to talk about our view of 2024. Yeah. This director's take will be one part of a series where we frame up the year according to a set of values we're using to develop the game. So, I mean, that's huge, right? They're going to sort of explain to us the core values to develop the game. This is great. This is actually great. You know, when we talk about communication from the devs, this is the sort of comms we want. It's really cool. I love seeing behind the scenes. Or maybe that's just me personally, but I think this gives us a better idea as to what they're actually doing with the game. These values translate into goals and specific additions and changes to the game to meet these goals. There's a lot of different things coming up this year that I want to share. So think of this as the first in a series of topics to cover. Okay, good. I think that's actually quite an interesting preamble to this. So yeah, let's just crack on. One of the biggest values of the team is to improve Overwatch's individual and team-focused gameplay to meet the needs of our core audience. Now, this seems a bit like, how can you... It seems like an oxymoron, right? So it's like you want to improve individual and team-focused gameplay? Is that possible? Can that be done? I think they've been focusing a bit too much on individual play since the launch of Overwatch 2. Obviously, the reduction of a tank, it takes out, a strategic element, let's say, of tanks playing together, which, you had to rely on your other tank. Now you don't. You just play Malga, who's still strong, by the way, even though he's been nerfed. I was hoping he would be, nerfed into non-relevancy, but actually, he's quite strong still. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's an interesting statement to make. That it's like they want their cake and they want to eat it. So, okay. When I look at the future of Overwatch, a year or two out, I don't see the exact same game that we're playing now, but with a few more heroes and maps added to it. The game should always evolve with new systems and features that serve our players. Some of these features could live just outside of a match, such as a map voting system. Holy Lord. Some of these could be larger systems that define the way players interact with the game, such as our competitive system. And some of these changes could be within a match itself, modifications to the moment-to-moment gameplay. This last part is what I'd like to talk about today. Additional director's takes will look at the other parts of the game that I mentioned, such as our competitive system, hero balance, and economy. I'd also like to take some time to talk about future events and limited time game modes, as well as larger systems that have the possibility of coming to the game. Okay, this is actually insane. A lot of people, I've got to go full screen for this. A lot of people lament for the days of Jeff, like, well, give us the Jeff update dev blogs. Oh, they were great. Everyone loved them. They were, but I mean, if you go back and watch them, they're not exactly packed with information. It's just Jeff being Jeff, and then memes were created. And yeah, they did drop bombshell news in most of them, but it wasn't like this. This is way better detail. Like, there's so much more detail here to break down. There's a lot more substance to it. So I think, honestly, I think I prefer these than the old. I'm probably going to get destroyed in the comments for saying that, because everyone loved Dino Flask versions of Jeff update videos. But this is so cool. Like, so much detail. Really like this. And I think this is an awesome way as well to kick off the year. So cool. Right, okay. So we're going to talk about gameplay then. Right. So let's get into Overwatch gameplay, starting with the obvious. Overwatch is a team-based, hero-based, multiplayer competitive shooter. Heroes, maps, and game modes are all designed to require teams to work together in order to successfully win a match. When a team works together, each player using their hero to their fullest potential while relying on each other to execute a strategy, the game feels magical. And it does. This is like, that's Overwatch. That's actually a really cool little, I guess, paragraph there. That's what Overwatch is, and this is why people come to Overwatch. A lot of people like to say Overwatch is a dead game and whatever. More often than not, they come back to play the game, whether they're playing it long term or what, who knows. But like, you can't get this experience anywhere else in the FPS genre. Yeah, all right, Team Fortress 2, but come on, it's not the same thing. It just isn't the same thing. So it's very unique. It is like, this is one of the reasons why I've always thought that all you needed to do was give Overwatch content and people would come back. And I guess they are doing that now. Obviously, you know, we can talk about the quality of the content and whatever, but it's such an attractive game for a ton of different reasons. But I think primarily just because, like what Aaron says there, the gameplay does feel magical. And I'd even add to that and say it feels very unique, which it looks like it does here anyway. So he said there's really no other FPS like it. However, when this isn't happening and players are all working on their own, the game is far from magical and can become frustrating. The reliance on teammates can simultaneously be one of the best and worst attributes of our game. We want to improve this by looking at the game through the lens of teamwork and to make it easier for players to be part of the team while also lessening some of the pain when that's not happening. In fact, a lot of our goals for improving the core game stem from looking at Overwatch as a whole, improving the parts of the game that are working, and finding fixes for the parts that are negatively affect the experience. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Let's move on. Since the launch of Overwatch 2, we have brought in features that align with improving the player experience. The ping system and newer group respawn system both encourage team play. For those who don't know, the group respawn system adjusts individual players' respawn times so they respawn with teammates more often. This system will get a tuning pass in Season 9 to make the effect more prominent. But we're also talking about other features that will make it easier for players to work together as a team. Party frames is one of these. These are on-screen player health indicators that we use for our PvE events. Finally, they're bringing this to the game. Finally. Well, giving it us in competitive and just in the game. Other possible features such as backfill improvements, changes to our scoreboard, and ways to mitigate spawn camping also align with this. To show the extent of our discussions, even an ally-only minimap feature was discussed. Minimap? Okay. I don't think we really need a minimap, do we, in Overwatch? I guess it was discussed, not implemented. I do like the idea of the PvE overlay coming to the game. That's good, Blizzard, and you should have done that ages ago. So yeah, cool. Not sure about a minimap, though. You guys let me know what you think about that. The comments below, minimap. Well, maybe it would make sense on some maps and some game modes. I don't know. Anyway, some of these systems are under discussion and some are in development. I don't think a minimap... Okay, there's a high likelihood of shipping, but I do think that the party frames are likely. A lot of these ideas are aimed at addressing your feedback and what you want to make Overwatch a better game. Yeah, so, like, this is... that's massive. That's actually massive. Those unit frames from PvE are great for support because you can see what's going on. I think they're going to work... Well, apologies if that came through on the mic. I think they're obviously going to work for DPS and tank, but for support, that's going to be awesome because you can just see at a glance everybody's health. And of course, it's good info for other players to have anyway because you're going to know when to push. You know, if your tank's got full health, you know, whatever needs pushing, you can go for it. It's just good information. It's more information on the screen. That makes sense. And I like that. And I think nobody would say that's a bad feature. Okay, let's move on. It's our hope that staying closer to your teammates and having more information on what they're doing will help encourage team play. But what happens when your team is not working well together? We definitely want to make this a little less frustrating. You can't really have a team game though, can you? And then also have a game where the individual can just pop off. Or can you? I don't know. We've talked a team game in the vein of Overwatch, you should say, with the, you know, the way the abilities and the heroes interact. Not a team game like Counter-Strike, where somebody can just pop off and kill everyone, or I guess Valorant. might be a better example because at least they've got abilities. And remember, abilities won't kill in Valorant. We've talked about a new competitive system coming to Season 9, but there's a massive set of gameplay and balance changes coming to that season as well. Holy hell. Many of those changes are aimed at reducing damage spikes in combat. This is really good because Overwatch is very much you just instantly die or you don't die. And this is why you would get pulled into playing certain characters. I guess Sojourn is a good example of this because she's got that instant kill potential on a charged railgun, on squishy targets and things like that. And we don't really want the game just being instant kill or nothing. It's not a good direction to go in. And also this is like plays into the whole thing of power creep where healing arguably became too effective and then sustained damage was not as effective. Spike damage is, or high spike damage, all of this stuff. Anyway, I won't get into all of it here. We're working on a standalone post to be published close to the start of that season. But for the sake of the current discussion, I'd like to talk about one aspect of it. In Season 9, both tank and damage heroes will get a modified, tuned down version of the support healing passive. What? Okay. This should give non-support players more options in terms of sustaining themselves. I mean, okay, this needs to be really tuned down. My first reaction to this is, surely this just makes some heroes completely redonkulous? Like a Sojourn we were just talking about. If she's just got a heal when she's not in combat, there's even less reason to play Soldier. What? That's got to be really toned down. That's actually mental. That's It should also take some of the pressure off support players to keep everyone alive, since individual players will now have more control over their own health pool. Well, I guess this makes sense. If you don't want supports to be heal bots, then we'll just let everyone heal themselves. What? In Overwatch, there's a constant tug of war between the power of a team and the power of an individual hero or a player. A change like this shifts that balance a bit. This is something that we are constantly evaluating. We still want Overwatch to be defined by team strategy and mechanics, but we also hear the feedback to give more individual agency for each player in a match and feel the maximum potential for team synergy can be pulled back a bit now and possibly more in the future. Okay, that's actually insane. What? I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the implications of this, but I think the Sojourn example is good. You know, Sojourn is mobile, right? So she could take a bit of a fight, whatever, she's getting pressured or she needs to back away. She can back away and her heal will kick in and then she'll heal herself. We don't know for how much, but Aaron does say there it's not going to be as strong as the support passive. But that frees up the support to just think less about healing the Sojourn or whoever DPS that would be. And then they can do what? Go start doing damage to the enemy more often, using their support abilities more often, being more sort of going after the enemy. I am flabbergasted by that. That is like one of the most. I would never have put that down of a. I do think the passives need changing especially for DPS. They're boring. For tank though, tank had the knockback resistance, and I think that kind of was okay. But like, I don't know about this. This is definitely a change. Definitely a change. It might be good. Who knows? Oh my god, that is actually insane. That is actually crazy. Okay, let's carry on with this. Surely there's not more. We're also actively looking for new ways of improving the core gameplay experience. This weekend, we launched our first Quick Play Hacked event, where we modified the rules in our Quick Play queues. This first iteration is called Quicker Play, and it changes many of the Quick Play mode's rules to make matches quicker. Payloads and capture times are faster, respawn times are quicker, and matches are shorter. This particular experiment is designed to look at how these changes affect player psychology. For instance, if a player spends less time waiting to respawn, will getting eliminated by opponents feel less frustrating? If matches are shorter, will each loss have the same sting that it currently does? There's also other out-of-game benefits that could come from this event, such as quicker matchmaking and quicker challenge completion. Based on the reception of these changes, the team might use the feedback towards improving the game. That's what these quick play hacked events are designed to do, quicken the feedback loop and allow for swifter implementation of improvements into the game. In fact, we have one more coming later in Season 8. You can learn about that more here. Okay. This suddenly makes sense, doesn't it? And then he just basically says, that's it for this week, and we'll be back. Goodbye. Okay. Thanks for reading and watching. Hello. So, this suddenly makes sense now, doesn't it? This hacked event. Because I was like, with this, I was like, okay, you're changing everything here, Blizzard. What are you doing? But look, they're already looking at making changes to core systems in Season 9. And if that's what they're doing, it's obvious that this test at the weekend is straight up just, let's see what changes we can actually implement in Season 9. And this is our PTR experimental test phase for these changes. And the ones that we like, we will keep. And we've got a really fun way here of massively changing quick play for a weekend. That's probably going to draw players back into the game. That's actually super cool, that is. But okay, what's the main news here? I think, honestly, guys, this is like incredible communication. This is what we want. I really love this stuff. It's so cool to see this. The teasers as to what stuff is being worked on. I mean, they were looking at a minimap. That is, I don't really think that's needed. I think for like Flashpoint it would work, but I don't think for other game modes it really makes any sense. It's just be clutter on your screen, and like, who wants that? But the PvE windows for your allies, yeah, that's great. That's really good, and they're going to bring that in, it looks like, although obviously no promises there. Things like a map, picks and bans, that would be insane, in a good way. And then this change to tank passive. Obviously, we've got Season 9 is going to bring massive change to competitive and all of that stuff. And this, honestly, big news here. I mean, this is actually massive news. I mean, this idea of toning down the damage in the game as well, like toning down damage spikes and bringing things more in line to make the game a bit more consistent, is also a great idea. Honestly, guys, that is a really good start to the year. That is a really cool post. I don't think anyone's going to be annoyed with any of that. I think obviously the tank passive thing and the DPS passive, it's going to affect DPS more than tank, because what I'm trying to think in my head is, like, my initial quick reaction to that is it's probably going to facilitate more flanky style gameplay you can play on your own. It's going to probably giga buff Tracer. Sojourn would be buffed from it, or anyone who wants to operate on the flank. Sombra, giga buff. Anyone who really shouldn't have their own heal, if they've got a heal, that's probably going to make them really, really strong. For tanks, I'm not really too bothered, because the tank's not going to be off running around the map. They might be, and if they are, you're probably going to lose the game, unless it's Roadhog. And you're still probably going to lose the game. Or maybe not, I don't know. But weird. That is weird on tanks. Maybe they could have come up with something a bit different for tanks, but I'm really worried about that being stupidly crazy on DPS. And we know the way Blizzard tend to operate is, it'll probably be way too good to begin with, and then it'll get toned down. But what is also interesting here is we might be going into this world where healing in Overwatch is no longer, the job of the support. It's your job. You've got to keep yourself alive. That's obviously healing's still going to be in the game, and it's still going to be mega impactful. That is crazy to me. Okay, I think I'm going to leave the video at that, because that is a lot to take in there. A lot of information. I think it was condensed fairly well as well. But you guys let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I want to know what you think about this passive change, because I think, to me, that seems like the most insane change we've got here. And then, like, obviously the good news from here. I mean, group respawn is obviously good as well. And I can't remember where it said about the... I'm not even showing you guys this time. There we go. Can't remember what it says about PvE events, off possible futures, backfill improvements, ally minimap. We've talked about new competitive systems. There we go. Damage spikes. That's what I was looking for. But there's a massive set of gameplay changes coming to that season, as well as many of those changes are aimed at reducing damage spikes in combat. That's really good, because just being instantly wiped out is never great in this game, where it is supposed to be a bit more tactical. This isn't Counter-Strike. This isn't Valorant. I've had my head blown off by an AWP or whatever. It's like, I guess Widow can do that, and Hanzo can do that, and Sojourn can do that, and yeah. Okay, all right, everybody. I'm going to leave the video at that. Thank you for listening, and like Aaron says down here, watching the video, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.